Hey guys, it's Jessie and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video it's going to be a super duper exciting one because I'm going to be introducing a new project. So as you guys know, I do a Pan Those Eyeshadows series and I do project pans and pan that palettes. My first kind of videos of the updates of those projects will be up after this one in the next few days or so, but I was just super excited about introducing this new project. I couldn't wait. On my past channel I've done, as I said, project pan, pan that palette, pan those eyeshadows for a while now, and on this new channel I thought I might as well throw in another project. I've got the kind of creative space to do that on this channel. That's kind of why I created this channel, and I am going to be doing A to Z Pan Those Eyeshadows project. So if you are unfamiliar with what that is, I've seen a couple of YouTubers do this. I've watched Sophia Alexandra do this the most, and it's basically you pick shades from A to Z in your collection and you try and hit pan on those. You can do this with any products in your collection, but I've chosen eyeshadows because they are my favourites and they are the largest product quantity in my collection, and I've aimed to go from the kind of oldest palettes I can so I can get more use out of those rather than having to kind of use my new palettes. And I do want to kind of eventually use up my older palettes, so that is kind of, hopefully this is going to help me do that. Because it is obviously mid-year, not the perfect time for an intro, I've decided to just do the first half of the alphabet. So I've got A to M picked out of a total of 8 palettes, so there will be a couple duplicate shades because obviously, as I said before, I want to use my older palettes. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to be updating this every month along with my Pan Those Eyeshadows and Project Pan. All the eyeshadows I mentioned will be linked in the description so you can check them out if you want to. But yeah, let's just get straight into this introduction and I will show you what we have in this project now. So for shade number A, I have picked a shade from my Makeup Obsession Be Obsessed With palette. This is my second oldest palette, hence why it is in here. And the shade I picked is Aspire, which is just this shade here. It looks like that. It's just kind of a mauvey, taupey brown colour. I will swatch all these shades out so you can see them, but this is just what this one looks like. It's quite a pretty mauvey kind of brown colour. So it is just there, you can see it there. So it'll be a nice crease colour. I've hit quite a lot of pan in this palette so far, so hopefully it shouldn't be too hard to hit again. So then for the shade B, I've gone for my Naked 3 palette. This is my current Pan That palette this year, so it will be really good to have used up some more shades in here. I won't hold it up too high because 1, I don't want to spoil the progress, and 2, where I've repressed the shade limit, it is a little bit crumbly. But the shade I'm going to be rolling in is this shade here, Burnout. I'm trying to cover it so you can't see my progress. It's just this pink shade here. It's quite a cool toned pink. It's not my favourite of shades, but hopefully I should be able to hit pan in it. I will swatch it out so you can see. It's kind of a light shimmer. None of these shimmers are anything special, but it's just a nice light pink shimmer, and it just would look quite nice on the eyes. I don't know whether I could pull that off in the inner corner. I think it's almost too pigmented for that and too kind of pink and dark for that, but that is Aspire from Be Obsessed With by Makeup Obsession and Burnout from Urban Decay Naked 3. So then for my C shade, I've picked another Naked palette. I have gone for the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette, again my third oldest palette, again as you can see, picking the older the palettes, but in this one I have picked Caution for C. It is just this kind of matte, I guess, cool taupe brown colour. It's a very light colour, really nice, and I think it would be really good for setting the eyes. Once I've finished a kind of limit in my Pan That palette, I will move on to this one. This is kind of just a really nice setting colour for me, almost like a skin colour. It just looks like that there, you can see it there, and hopefully this will be okay to hit pan in. I'll use a decent amount of this every day, so I'm really excited to move on with this palette. Then my next shade I've gone for is again from my Urban Decay Naked 3. This shade I actually do have a little bit more progress in, so hopefully it shouldn't take too long to hit pan, but it's just the shade Dust here. As you can see, there's a dip here. This is a very light pink kind of chunky glitter shade, and I've been using this as an inner corner highlight, and that is kind of the way I like to use it. It's definitely very glittery and shimmery, and it's also pretty chunky, so it works well as an inner corner, but all over the lid I'm not sure how nice it would be. That is the shade there. It's just Dust. That is just what it looks like. Again, you can see similar to Burnout, but just kind of a lighter, more chunkier formula. All these shades are pretty light. I've only done light swatches, but I just think they will be really nice to use, and you can even use all these 3 in a look together. But they are just really light shades. I've picked them because they're kind of from older palettes, so probably losing a little bit of pigmentation, but I do want to be able to use them up. So that is shade for D. Then my shade for E is coming from my Coloured Rain Queen of Hearts palette. This is one of my favourite palettes of all time. The shade I picked is Empress, this kind of orangey colour here. I think that'll be super fun to play with. I love how orange looks on my eyes, so I'm really excited to have pulled this one in. This palette is really stunning. It's super pigmented and I just love the way that all the shades work together and blend gorgeously. So that is the shade there. I'm obviously only doing small swatches because I'm going to be swatching like 13 shades. So that is what Empress looks like there. Our shade for E, a really pretty, gorgeous, nice, warm orange colour. So that is what that one looks like. Then for F, I'm going to be pulling the James Charles mini palette. I don't support James Charles or Morphe, but I do want to use this one up. So I've got a couple of shades from this one rolling in. The first one is going to be the shade Flashback for F. So that is the white shade here. Again, I will be using this to set my eyes. I really like using a white shade to set my eyes, so I thought this would be pretty good. I will give this a swatch, but it is just a regular white shade. It's not insanely pigmented or anything. It is just like, I guess, good for setting the eyes because I'm so pale, or lightening up a look if you need it to. But yeah, that is just a shade there. I don't know if you can see. It's very light, but that is the one we're going to be working on in this project. And I've got a couple more to show you later from that palette, but I will just show you Flashback for now. So next up, we have a newer palette because I didn't have any G shades for a while, and that is the Maybelline Nudes of New York palette. The shade I'm going to be rolling in is Globetrotter, which is this really nice warm burgundy kind of brick red colour. Really nice, really kind of nice browny, warm neutral colour, and the mattes in this palette are really nice. It's one of my favourite things about this palette. That is just one swatch. They are so smooth and so beautiful and really pigmented, so it's going to be really nice. As you can see, I've gone for kind of a similar kind of colour story that should be easy to pan, I think, but yeah, that is just what it looks like. A very nice, gorgeous colour, and I'm super excited to work that into lots of looks. I've tried to pick palettes that I feel like I can work into lots of looks, then it will hopefully not kind of contrast too much with my Pan That palettes and my Pan As Eyeshadows projects. So that is our colour story so far. Next up, we have a 4H, another James Charles shade. This is the shade Hello, and this is definitely a bolder colour, but I didn't have any H's. So this is this kind of blue colour here, our first kind of coloured shadow, because obviously, as I said, I was just saying I wanted shades that would kind of work well, but I also did want some kind of fun stuff. So I've gone for this light blue here. As you can see, it's kind of got a bit of a white reflect. It's a very light shimmery blue, and it looks really nice. It's just the shade Hello, and yeah, I think it's really pretty. Hopefully I can work it into some looks. I think it'll be really fun. So that is another one of the shades for H. Then for I, again, I didn't have any eye shades for a long time, so I went for my Nikki Tutorials X Beauty Bay palette, and the shade I'm going to be rolling in is called Ivy. It is just this shade up here at the top, and it just looks like that. I don't know if you can see. Really gorgeous shimmery shade. A couple of people have said this one kind of goes to a bit of a weird formula after a while, so hopefully that doesn't happen here. I'm just hoping to kind of use it up before this happens, but it is a really gorgeous kind of foiled white silver shimmery colour. It just looks like that there. As you can see, it's a really gorgeous shimmery colour. I feel like this would be a really nice inner corner. Obviously I've got dust at the moment, but hopefully I should hit pan in that soon. I think it'd be a really gorgeous colour. Like the way it catches the light is just so pretty, so I'm really excited to have rolled that one in. As you can see, it gets a little bit chunky towards the end, but I think as like an inner corner that would be really pretty, so really excited about that one. And that is the shade for I. And then the shade for J, again, I didn't really have any J's in my older palette, so I've picked the Natasha Denona Sunrise. This isn't old, but it also isn't new, so I guess it would kind of fall in the middle. The shade for J I've picked is Jasper here. Again, it's kind of a nice warm kind of mix between red and orange. It's not quite like red, but it's also not quite orange. It's a bit deeper and a little bit of a different formula to the Empress one, although they do look a little bit similar, but I do like to use these a lot. This one's Jasper here. I feel like it would be really nice for deepening up because it's like similar tones but kind of a different colour, and it will definitely look different on the eyes. I know that for a fact because they're both really high quality shadows. They're both going to look different on the eyes, but yeah, that is the kind of colours I like to wear, so I thought it would make sense to kind of roll in a couple of those, plus I didn't have any J's. So that is the colour story there. That is Jasper for the shade J from the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. And next up for K, again, didn't have any K's, so I had to go for kind of a much newer palette. This is the newest palette out of all of the ones in this project, and that is my Urban Decay Naked Honey, and I chose the shade Keeper. It's just this one here, a really nice matte musty colour. Not too sure how I'll do with the Urban Decay shades because they are pretty densely packed and quite highly pigmented, and the shades are pretty deep in the pan, so it might take a while for me to hit pan in them. I enjoy using them, and that's the main thing. I just want to get some really good use out of them. So that is the shade there underneath, a really nice mustardy yellow colour, going to be really nice and work well with the colour story. So that is the shade K for Keeper from Urban Decay Naked Honey. And then for L, I have my last Naked 3 shade, and that is the shade Liar. So this one is definitely a darker one. It's not really in my comfort zone, but it is this shade here, Liar. So I'll swatch that for you. It's a very kind of darker grey shimmer shade. It is really nicely pigmented. It actually still performs really well, which is nice to see considering how old this palette is, but it's just not necessarily a shade that I would be drawn to without this project. It is just there at the bottom there, as you can see, kind of a slate grey, kind of, I don't know, grungy grey colour with a little bit of purple in there too. As you can see, I hope you can see from me moving my hand around, it is a shimmer shade, so I feel like that will look nice either kind of on the outer corner or on the lower lash line potentially, because I don't want to wear a shade that dark all over my lid. It would be a little bit dark for me, but really pretty shade, and I'm really excited to kind of have that one in here to use, and hopefully I should get some good progress on it because I'm aiming to hit pan on it for my Pan That palette, and I hoped putting it in this project would make that easier for me. And then lastly for M, because obviously we're only going through half the alphabet, I have the shade Mary from my James Charles X Morphe palette, and that is just this shade up here. So it's this shade here, this kind of, I don't really know how to describe it, it's kind of a warm taupey brown. I guess it's similar to Aspire actually, but I thought it would work well with the colour story, plus I didn't really have loads of M's, so I will just swatch it for you now. These shades are pretty easy to hit pan on. I haven't really had much trouble hitting pan on them in the past. The mattes in here in this palette I actually really like. Some of them perform well, some of them don't. This is one of the ones that does perform well. That is just the shade there. As you can see, the blue performs well as well, but other ones just don't. I don't even know why. But yeah, that is just the shade Mary from the James Charles Morphe mini palette. So this is our colour story for my A to Z panless eyeshadows, but obviously it's going to be A to M. This is what it's looking like. As you can see, I picked some kind of warm tones. That's the shades that I use. Here I've got some light ones that should be good for every day, and here's over here is some fun ones that I can use more often. But yeah, that is the colour story we are working with, and here are the 9 palettes that those shades come from. I'm super excited for this project, and as I said before, I'll be updating it every month, so make sure you do subscribe if you want to see updates from this. I'm super excited to play with all these shades and hopefully make some good progress, so let me know how you think I'll do. Hopefully next month I will have a few of these to kind of pull out of the project because I will have hit pan. But yeah, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like down below, hit subscribe, turn the bell, show a little club, make sure you turn on all notifications, then you'll be notified every single time I post a new video. I post all sort of makeup content over on this channel. I post project pans, makeup hauls, loads of different stuff that you guys will love if you like this type of video. If you want to check me out on anything else, my social media and my main channel will be linked in the description, along with anything I'm wearing on my face and the palettes that I mentioned in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!